Hello, everybody. So this talk was announced as two presentations, and Daniel from IonQ wanted to join me. Unfortunately, he's sick, and therefore I'm alone here. But I tried to take over his part as well. And normally I don't start with a company introduction, but this case is a bit more complicated, so let me start with this. So I'm from AIDAQ. AIDAQ, Quantique, is a quantum communication pioneer from Geneva, Switzerland, founded 2001. We were recently acquired by IonQ. IonQ is a quantum computing pioneer. And I think it's a great momentum. IonQ put together capital, a lot of talent in different technologies, quantum technologies, ion trap quantum computing, quantum memories, QKD, and even space. They brought together a huge set of IP, more than 1,000 patents, and we have strong partnership collaborations all over the world. I think our ambition is to work on the full stack of quantum IT, quantum computing, and quantum networking. So this is where IonQ started as an ion trap quantum computing company, expanding into the quantum computing applications, and now also working on networking, including quantum key distribution and other quantum communication applications. And the second important question is development is accelerating. IonQ published a new accelerated quantum computing roadmap, I think in June this year. And it's quite impressive that, please note that this is a logarithmic scale, and still you see super linear, so it's super exponential growth foreseen in 2 years in the number of physical qubits and logical qubits. And we expect a generic quantum advantage in 4 years, where we can solve many memory problems that are today intractable. So where are these bold statements coming from? First, sorry, these are not my slides. Well, here I talk more on, let's say, the hard physical parameters. These are the physical qubit quality, and then also the two-gate fidelity, which is a very important figure of merit, because this also determines how easily we can build from physical qubits to logical qubits. Logical qubits is the goal, because once we arrive there, we can go to universal quantum computing. Of course, the most important parameters for success are on the application side. How fast, how accurate, how efficient, and what about the cost of using all this? But let me first focus on the physical side. So we have two important parameters. Again, one is the number of qubits. The other is how well can we let the qubits interact. And we see that ion traps, they have a distinct advantage for the quality. The two-gate qubit fidelity is best in ion trap quantum computing. And now, since IonQ and Oxford Ionics joined forces, this is the moment where then we can bring this together and scale and have highest quality, also then means highest number of logic qubits. And the reason, this is very important, this quality of a single physical qubit, because ions are atoms with one electron less, right, or more. You have atoms as physical qubits, and the big advantage is that they are identical. Each atom, whether it's from Berlin or from New York or from Tokyo, it's the same thing. So you can take many of them, and you don't have any issues in the industrial quality of choosing the physical atom. And this is an advantage compared to superconducting qubits, for example. And then the next important thing is that doing operations on this qubit can be made very, very accurate. And that's the reason why we can go from 10,000 physical qubits to 800 logical qubits, while other technologies, they end up with a much smaller logical qubit size number with the same physical qubits. And so this will be published soon by our colleagues from Oxford Ionics. So the 2-qubit gate fidelity goes now to 99.99%. And this is a very important figure as a basis for this kind of scaling. And the second important point is that we are going from bulky, handmade quantum computers to scalable architectures based on semiconductor, standard semiconductor technology. And this is very important, because then you scale in size, but also it's about cost. You can build large-scale quantum computers with a reasonable bill of material. So we expect that even if you go to 2 million physical qubits, the bill of material will stay in the low 10 millions of dollar or euro. So with this is the basis, and obviously, and I can't go into details here now, with this you build then an entire stack, including quantum memories to connect quantum computers inside the same room first, later then over longer distance, and then have this a data center scale quantum computing. Okay, I'll skip this. And just to say, already now, this year, we announced twice a quantum advantage. Maybe it's a very specific problem, but nevertheless, it's industrial relevant problems that have been solved better with IonQ machines than the best, at this time, practical approach known. And we will see more quantum advantage this year and in the coming years. And so we think that already in 2 years, we will arrive at a broad commercial advantage for specific problems, and this will then be even broader in 4 years. So I think this is a very exciting time. So up to now, we had a lot of excitement about quantum since many years. I think now we are entering an even more exciting period. So with this, I'd like to come now to my own presentation. And it's more in line with the scope of this session. It's about security. But I think it was important to show this acceleration in quantum computing, because this also shows that time is running out, and we have to rush now and to make sure that we become quantum safe. It's not an option anymore. It's due now to do this migration. And note that this study from McKinsey, which this graph is based on, to compare the demonstrated and the forecasted quantum computer performance compared to the required resources to break, for example, RSA 2048, this is approaching to each other. And McKinsey said in 2 years already, we enter this zone of increased risk, and we heard it before, there will be no press release or no public announcement when crypto will be broken. And please note that this study was published half a year ago. This was before IonQ, and also, by the way, other companies announced more aggressive and more optimistic roadmaps on their quantum computing. So I think we really have to accelerate in our migration to quantum safe. And if you think, well, how big of a problem could this quantum computing stuff be for our IT, for our data? Just think of, take your servers that you have in a secure data center and put it on the parking in front of the data center and leave them overnight. Quantum computing could make the same problem to you as if you would just leave your data outside of the building and go home. Now we heard about the two technological solutions to become quantum safe, and I oversimplify here a bit because it's a very tricky and can be very technical as a discussion. PQC as a mathematical approach is something that can replace all our cryptographic functionalities that are at risk today. It has broad applications. On the security level, there are some residual risk because the security of post-quantum depends on our current understanding of mathematics and computers. On the other hand, we have quantum key distribution. It's a physical method. It's based on the security proof is based on the laws of quantum physics. And we can show that it's fundamentally secure, independent of the computational power or of the knowledge of the attacker. It will stay secure. However, quantum key distribution needs dedicated hardware and has therefore a limited application scope. The use cases are focusing on core infrastructure, backbone infrastructure, data infrastructure. And so people then say, well, what shall we use? We heard it already today from Daniela Theisinger. Use both. We like to say PQC everywhere, QKD where it's critical. And I brought this mock-up from Geneva because even yesterday, people approach me and say, QKD, I heard about it. It will come in a few years already. I said, no, it's here already. We have, it's not there anymore. We have a certified product in South Korea, which is the first anchor of trust that we show. Sorry, the slides are a bit scrambled. So who is using this already? There are major banks worldwide, multinationals, and they are implementing a dual strategy. This term was coined by JP Morgan. What they want to say is that PQC is to protect the application layer mainly. QKD is to protect the low-layer infrastructure. It's a physical layer, data link, and network. And many network encryptors and encryptor providers, they have implemented interfaces to use QKD keys and integrate them in their security architecture. You see quite famous names here from Nokia to Cisco. Another example from another major US bank is that they say, well, so we are approaching this quantum computing area of cryptographically relevant quantum computers, the risk increases. Of course, we do our crypto discovery and inventory. This is the generic advice to everybody. Look what you have, what you're doing in terms of cryptography, and then take action. And of course, they go with PQC migration. But since it's a multinational bank, they say it takes us 10 years to do this full migration. It's very complex. We have 5,000 apps worldwide, and taking everything into account, it takes years. So what they do to mitigate this residual risk is to use QKD in their core backbone to be faster, and in this limited area have reduced the risk in a very short amount of time. And with this, they approach this dual strategy from both sides. OK, let me just quickly explain to you how this works in practice. So you have your two data centers here. There's a communication line between them. And then you have encryptors. There is a symmetric part, typically AES, and asymmetric part. Up to now, elliptic curve. Now it will be PQC for the key establishment. And QKD you use in parallel on a logically separated communication line to establish a key end-to-end. And on this level, you run the QKD protocol, or the machines running the QKD protocol. And then the encryptor on demand, or the decryptor requests then from the QKD system a key, a secret key on both sides. It's asymmetric. And then internally, there's a sort of key derivation function, meaning that you take the key from PQC, you take the key from QKD, and then you do some mathematical operation to end up with one key that combines the security of both keys originally, right? And this is an example here, as I said, from our product range. It's a 4th generation, it's data center grade, it's ready for production, and we use it in production. But instead of going into products and offerings and stuff, I'd like to take a step back and to see also the opportunity here. I said QKD is out of band, meaning that the key distribution mechanism is not in the same layer as the data communication. And I think this is a chance to achieve more than what we can achieve with in-band key distribution. The reason is that assume that you build this infrastructure for key distribution, which is a separated network, logically separated. Physically, it's on the same, and it can be on the same network. But logically, it's separated. And on this level here, you do the key distribution end-to-end, and then you make available the keys to the encryptors to do the symmetric encryption in the data plane. And with this, we can achieve a higher cryptographic agility, because this infrastructure can serve many applications. I talked about 1,000 applications for the bank. We can, without adding complexity to the user, we can mix QKD, PQC, and maybe even symmetric methods on this plane here, and have this technology complexity hidden or isolated from the user in this key distribution plane, and which also means that there is no operational impact on the data plane. So this, whenever there is a change here on the cryptography, this API, the local interface, doesn't change. And okay, this is a bit visionary in the sense that we don't have products for this today, but I think if we go in this direction of thinking of out of band, using QKD as a symmetric method, PQC as an asymmetric method, we can reinforce and strengthen our trust architecture, or we could call it zero trust architecture, because also the data we use today has more value than it had like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. So we have more and more value, and we depend more and more on our digital infrastructure. So one technical solution alone for critical infrastructure is not sufficient. Okay, let me take another step back and come back to IonQ and our ambition. Today we have QKD as the first application of quantum communication. Companies who start today with QKD, they prepare themselves for the quantum communication area or quantum IT era. And QKD is only one aspect here. We'll have entanglement distribution end-to-end. This will connect quantum computers. This will connect to other sensory applications like reference timing, etc. We'll have, and IonQ, we as the IonQ group, we work on all these elements, and our goal is to be a one-stop shop for quantum networking in general. This will extend to space, first with prepare and measure QKD from ground to space, and then later also with entanglement, to make this quantum internet a global thing. Okay, let me come to the conclusion. I think we have to get ready. My prediction is there will be a quantum rush and a quantum panic in 2 years. This is my bet. Let's see. And again, please use PQC everywhere and QKD where it's critical. I think there is an opportunity going beyond the technological details and to build out-of-band key distribution infrastructure to have a zero trust or maximally trust infrastructure to protect our values. Thank you very much for your attention.